When I first began TIG welding, I practiced for hours and hours every day. Only there was one problem. I was practicing wrong. When I was first learning, I always had the assumption that if I wanted to get good, all I had to do was just get in the shop, burn a ton of rod, and practice my face off. Here's one thing that I've talked about before. When I was first learning to TIG weld, I was working on the wrong practice exercises. One of the biggest misconceptions about TIG welding is that it's all about practice. Only here is the thing that it misses. It's about what you practice, not how much you practice. When I'm working with students in my online TIG welding program, we go over a strategic plan of how and exactly what we're gonna start practicing. After we finish our first couple practices, we break down our own work, learn what went right, and what we can work on next time we sit down to practice. So not is it only just about practicing the right stuff, but next time we get in to put in a practice session, we have an exact strategic plan of exactly what we're working on. Let's check one of these examples out here. This is from a student who just got their certificate in my program. By this point, he had worked his way up to the lap joint, and for his first couple sessions of working on the lap joint, you can see here he was doing pretty good at it already. Again, working on all of our fundamentals up to this point gave him a great start to attempting this joint. I believe this was from his second session working on it. So taking a look at this first photo here, we decided that we were gonna start working on weld placement. We can see that with this weld, it's placed a little bit too low. We can see that the amount of filler rod used in this weld had fallen a little bit flat and concave. Another thing that we identified we could fix is that we were dealing with a bit of an excessive stepping distance. So excessive stepping distance combined with placement, and although like I said, this one was pretty good, we now know that we're gonna adjust and work on these details when we get in for the next practice session. So take a look at the result from the next practice session here. Aha, right on, looking much better. So we'll take a look at the first one again here. Now we'll compare it to the one he got next time he sat down to practice. Right on, much better. We can see that next time my friend sat down to practice this one, he had an exact plan of what he was going to work on, and we can see here that the overall placement of this weld was much better. The stepping distance also had perfect adjustments. We can see that the filler material used was able to do its job much better, and the results paid off. This is the difference between one session. So getting results like this, I believe it was about his third session by the time he sat down and got this one. I got stuck on this joint for seriously months. I was going in with no plan of exactly what I was going to work on, and I wasted a lot of my time. This is absolutely the biggest thing that I help people with. We're gonna make efficient use of the student's time, gas supply, materials and other supplies, and not to mention the effort and attention it takes to practice. I've talked about it all the time on my channel before. When you are first learning to TIG weld, sitting down and practicing something that may be a little bit out of your reach or may lead you to getting frustrated or lost perhaps. These are the things I got stuck on for months when I was learning. I was for sure trying things that were much too difficult for my skill level at the time, and I had no idea how to break down and assess my own work. So every time I went into practice, I would of course go in with good effort and good intention, but because I wasn't working on the right thing and I didn't have a plan when I put my helmet on, a lot of my effort and the materials I was using were wasted. So this just goes to show you that when you are practicing, it's not about how much you're practicing, it's about what you're practicing. When I'm teaching people, I put a huge emphasis on starting smart. We work on the absolute basics to get a great understanding, and when we move on through each step, I teach my students how to break down and learn from everything that they're seeing. Now, when a new student is starting my program, I usually recommend they practice somewhere around 3 times a week. And each time practicing about an hour and a half should be about perfect. I actually find that practicing too much can usually lead to somebody getting frustrated or perhaps burned out. Breaking things up a little bit, keeping it short and sweet with good purpose is what's gonna get a student the most out of a practice session. When I'm taking someone through my program and each time we check in with one another, I provide a clear plan of exactly what we're gonna work on. The next time they go into practice, especially over the course of a few weeks, they're gonna have a great understanding of the fundamentals we're gonna work on. So by that point, we can then move on to some more challenging stuff. I did an episode right here, and these are some of the biggest details I recommend when you're first starting to TIG weld, as far as what exercises to start with, and especially how to break down and assess your own work. Check that episode out next, it's gonna help you a lot. If you're interested in the TIG welding program that I'm currently offering, or if you're interested in having me help you get going, hit the link in the description below to my website. And no matter what, go out today, do a random act of kindness for a stranger. For Pacific Arc TIG Welding, my name is Dusty, Phil, and Chill. We will talk soon. Peace.